Oh, I had my mic off. What's going on, everybody? I'll do it again. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Xbox Ace show. And it certainly would not be a better show than Xbox Ace 1 show than to have ChuckTheApe and LittleShunts here. What's going on, boys?
How's it going?
Hello.
Goes
Good to
well,
be
goes
here.
well. Man, we have so much to talk about this time. Welcome, peeps. Welcome, everybody that's watching this coming out to the chat as we going live here. I'm learning OBS, so there's a couple things I need to tweak and learn, but we'll get it there. But want to thank everybody that's watching live on replay or rerun. I found that button. So I've been running some reruns, and we'll definitely be doing that with this show. We wanted to talk about toxicity because we end up, when we're streaming or just playing Sea of Thieves, talking about that a lot. We had an interaction recently where that was the case. And then also we want to talk about, of course, it's a Pirate's Life expansion, Season 3 for Sea of Thieves. So we're jam-packed with opinions, that's for sure. A variety of opinions at that. And chat, if you have opinions on what we're talking about, we are happy to interact with you too. So it's not just going to be us yakking the whole time. But so let's do this. Let me give a shout out to Chuck's channel right in the chat right now at ChuckTheApe. So you guys can be sure to visit his stream. He visits. What is it you like to stream, Chuck?
Yeah, so other than the usual, Sea of Thieves that you'll find me on, probably, well, depending on what the outcome of this new content is, maybe not as much. We'll see. Yeah, I'm very much into me sim games. A little bit of racing here and there. If there's a vehicle in it, I'm usually interested. But other than that, anything that I can click a lot of buttons or I have a lot of interactions to do. So yeah, a lot of Sims. Um, but yeah.
Okay, and the person that's behind the scenes in both of our streams a lot is LittleShunts. He may sound familiar to you. You may actually think he works for Rare. But he, to this day, denies that he does. Listen to his voice and decide for yourself. LittleShunts, what's going on?
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that little ship's bell.
Well said, sir. Well
Really, man.
said.
It's. I don't think I sound like John, but John from Rare, but others do. So, hello.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. The three of us have played Sea of Thieves for how many years now? 3 at least. Right?
3 years. Yeah.
Oh, actually,
3
how
years.
long's the game fully been out now? It's
More than
over
3.
3 years, isn't it? Yeah.
It's 3 years
yeah.
of March.
Wow. Because I mean, I was playing it in the original beta before it launched, and I played a bit of a sample of it at EGX in the UK. I can't remember which year, but it'll be the year prior to launching. Um, but that was a lot of fun getting to play a sort of pre-release version of it back then. It's funny how
So
much it's changed, though.
you got to play the pre-release version. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it was good, but we were sort of time limited to like 20 minutes, so we didn't really get to explore it too much. But that was my game of the event of the Eurogamer convention back then. That would have been 2017 maybe.
I remember when the beta
Can't remember.
came out
Can't remember the year.
and I'd heard about it and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for this game. It looks great. And then the beta was over a weekend here, wait a couple weeks, another weekend there. And I found myself absolutely drawn into this world, playing music, staring off the back of the ship into the sunset, which, by the way, was either a sloop or galleon. There were no brigs at that time, or emissaries, or
Of
curse
course.
cannonballs, or. So it was just beautiful, and it
I
really drew me in.
completely forgot the brig was not in the game from the start. Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, when it was added, I think they wanted to put the crow's nest on the front mast, if I'm not mistaken. But then they're like, wait a minute, that's not the tallest mast on the ship. So then they moved it to the middle mast, or the highest one, which was a little funky to get used to because you go down below right there. But we're all very happy with the brig because you either had to have 1 or 2 people, or 3 or 4. And a galleon it's a huge ship to wrestle with 3 people.
Yeah,
Oh,
it takes a lot of the fun out of the game, even with a full crew, because you end up having 1 or 2 people that go walkies every now. Well, sorry, that's probably not the correct phrase. they don't go walkies and they don't do nothing.
Yeah. Well, remember, there's a big problem of people coming into the game and then going onto the Ferry of the Damned and just spinning and being on the game for hours. And
Oh,
so it was
Chuck
left
and
to the
I know
crew
somebody.
that was
I can
yeah.
actually name drop if you want.
Best not. Best not.
Nobody's safe here. This is the
So-
Wild West. You're welcome on this platform, sir, to do that.
I remember logging into a game session, because I'd been playing with this person, and Chuck. Apologies, Chuck knows who I'm speaking about. But I loaded into his game because I saw it was online, and when I loaded in, he was just spinning around like, in the base of a sloop. It was just bizarre.
I mean, to tie
Sorry,
it in,
galleon. No, it's not a sloop.
to tie it
Galleon.
into one of the topics of discussion tonight, and just how widespread it's used. I mean, we could incorrectly call him toxic for doing that.
You could, because essentially he was grinding without doing any of the grind, wasn't he?
But then
Yeah.
still, it's an
Oh,
incorrect.
dear.
I
This-
suppose.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. This is what we'll talk about soon. Don't worry.
So then you could vote people into the brig, and yeah, they're like, wait a minute, why is there a brig on a sloop? Because there kind of shouldn't be a brig on a sloop, because you can't vote
There shouldn't
anybody
be.
into the brig.
There shouldn't
I think
be.
they just needed to use the space rather than put more barrels or something there. But the point is that we have played this game. We love this game. We have thousands of... How many hours between the three of us do you
I
think we
actually
have?
looked up everyone's statistics, sort of like Chuck's and yours.
All right, stalker, whatever, cool. No, it's good.
Yeah, no, but I looked them up on Xbox Live,
Okay.
and in some categories, Chuck was ahead. In others, you were ahead, and I was the last out of the three of us in pretty much all of them. So maybe not deaths. Maybe I died more. There was something like that. But yeah, definitely. Like in some categories, I think like Voyages Complete. Both of you had 3 times the amount of Voyages Complete compared to me.
All right.
It's
not about you. It's about
I
all of us
think-
combined, sir.
I know, but I
Hours
think,
played? Think we're about 5,000 safely?
Oh, easily.
Yeah. So the point being, we play the crap out of this game. We've been there from the beginning. So when we have our opinions in this show today, they mean something. We know the crap we're talking about. We know what we're doing, and so hopefully it'll be a help to some, hindrance to others. I have no idea, but this is just a forum to maybe say, hey, this is why we play the way we do, and maybe your play style is different. I think my favorite place to dumpster is Reddit, because of all the people that go there to complain. That's one of my favorite things to do, is let them know that they're wrong. And but there's a reason why we play the way we do and have the fun the way we do.
Agreed.
So with that
That's it.
being said, well, okay, everybody violently agrees with me. Very well. Let's
For now.
let's talk about toxicity let's talk about toxicity in gaming, and then what that means, what we think it means. But then let's zoom in on Sea of Thieves, and specifically, what do we think is toxic in Sea of Thieves, and what do we think, maybe even more importantly, what's okay in Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
So what makes gaming toxic? What does toxicity in gaming in general mean to you all?
Well, I mean, for me anyway, for what I believe it is, and how it's sort of portrayed by others, or what others' definitions of it, it's such a massive contrast. Because for me, toxic is someone who is being, should we say, aggressive or insulting because, let's say, something's not gone their way. You normally hear someone, if they get killed in Call of Duty, they'll shout out, curse words. They'll be calling someone insulting words, and that for me is someone being toxic. There's no need
Yeah.
to get into someone's personal space and start hailing insults. Everyone's on there to try and enjoy themselves, and just because, you'll get people who are called toxic themselves because they were the one who killed that other person. Oh, you're so toxic because you've killed me this way or that way. You shouldn't be doing this. And that's not, you play the game however you want to play it. You're not the one being toxic. As soon as you are insulted by someone and someone's giving you a little bit of heat, they're the ones being toxic.
Yeah,
What
So
about you,
that's
Shuns?
my understanding.
well, I completely agree with everything Chuck's just said there. I would also say that I think toxicity extends to when you prevent the sort of natural gameplay of a game design, of the game design taking place as well. Now, I guess certainly with Sea of Thieves, we'll sort of touch on this a bit, but um, yeah, if you're finding a way, let's even take Call of Duty's Warzone for a moment. I mean that game highly successful, but at the same time has a lot of bugs or sort of like game breaking elements to it. So, for instance, when people glitch under the map and they start killing other players, legitimate players that are playing the game as designed, that is toxic gameplay, I would say.
So playing the game not as intended, taking advantage of glitches or error in code. I don't know how else to say it. To win is what you're saying is being toxic.
Yeah, I would to a degree, although certainly nowhere near as like I would say it's that level of toxicity isn't anywhere close to when you go out your way to insult somebody verbally in a game, which is completely unacceptable.
Have you all ever listened to or watched the YouTube videos of just the death chat in Warzone compilations?
I've not, but I can
I've seen one
imagine.
or two.
What is your opinion of that, Chuck?
What, the fact that they exist or
Well, just
just
your
what's
takeaway.
captured?
Well, we're talking about toxicity. Yeah, what's happening?
I absolutely love them. I absolutely find it hilarious.
You find it
That,
hilarious,
that
but would you say
I
that
find,
it's toxic? When somebody says, "Oh, but this about your mom," or "That about your dad," or
oh no,
"Wish
yeah,
you weren't
all
born,"
yeah,
or "Go
yeah.
jump off a."
Sorry, yeah. So just to clarify, yeah. So I don't find, the videos being, someone who's made them behaving in a toxic way. I find that all the recordings of all these people just completely just throwing all these insults out there, wishing death to people and hoping that their family members, you know, um, you know, contract a certain disease. All that's just wrong, and there shouldn't be a place for it. But I find it. The thing that I find funny about those videos is the fact that someone's being wound up that much to have to cite those sort of terms and
Right.
sentences to get it just I mean it shall we say it in equal measures it infuriates me as much that people have to stoop to those levels or because they've lost on a game.
A lot of
But
times you're just like, man, you need to go for a walk. You'll
yeah,
hear
just
people
go and
beat
take
up
a breather.
beat up their keyboards, not just the death chat, but you watch the other things, right? The webcams of the streamers when they die and they break the keyboard over their knee, they punch the monitors. One guy, I don't know his name, and I would never watch his stream for this, but he has a dummy, like a martial arts dummy set up right next to him. So when he gets mad, he punches it. It's a torso, right? And so he lays into the thing over and over and over again just because he's died in a video game. And you got to think, man.
But at the same time, I wonder how much of that is just kind of hamming up to the camera,
Oh,
for
I mean,
cheap
you got to
laughs.
see it.
Yeah.
He's pretty steamed. I think he uses it because he thinks people will watch. And congratulations, you made it on a compilation. But when you see the look, he is not faking. He is super pissed. The guy's got anger issues, and I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that's toxic. I think just somebody has problems. But what people say, what we do, how we interact, And so when you bring it to Sea of Thieves, what's interesting about Sea of Thieves is it's not just strictly PvP all the time. It's not strictly PvE, player versus environment all the time, but it's both.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like a big social experiment. Are people going to be cool? Are pirates going to be cool? Or are they going to be, jerky pants? And what were pirates back in the day? Jerky pants. You
Yeah.
you Chuck told me about the lost what was it? The Lost Pirate Kingdom, right? Is that what it was called on
Um,
Netflix?
oh,
Shunts?
I know the one you're on about now, the one which tells the
The
story of
miniseries?
Nassau, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So in the
yeah.
17 teens, Blackbeard and all these pirates, right? And they were pirates. They were not nice. They did very not nice. They killed and they stole and they murdered and they did very nefarious things. So when you're playing a pirate game, it might dawn on people that people are going to act like pirates, or should, or shouldn't. What do you all think about that?
Well, could you imagine Blackbeard managing to board another cruise ship, or Calico Jack and taking a merchant vessel hostage and taking all their all their spoils below deck, and the captain of that crew saying to him, "Dude, you can't do this. This is toxic."
I'm a
Go,
solo slooper.
Yeah.
go, delete yourself, sir.
Yeah, no, it's mate. That was part and parcel of what went on in that area of the world in that time. The pirates seeing an opportunity to make money. There was no, shall we say, although there was obviously a law in place. Obviously, like the UK started sending people after the pirates in the end, but they seen an opportunity, and people were aware that pirates operated in those areas.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, what they were doing was wrong. At the end of the day, it was theft. But you, if you know the
Well,
troubles,
theft in international waters, though, Chuck.
yeah.
Eh?
But sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Mm.
But this is it, man. Look, we're not we're not doing anything wrong. We're not breaking the law. We're not taking any physical materials off anyone or any value off anyone. We'll always get insults off players, people who are spitting the dummies out, all because and this is it. Everyone says time is the most valuable commodity in life, which I agree, and that's what a lot of people get upset over with the likes of Sea of Thieves. It's because you've just taken the equivalent of the last 2, 3, 4 hours what they've worked for in the game, and that's what people get upset about. 99% of the time, it's not you've taken 50,000 gold worth of treasure off them. It's the fact that they've been spending a couple of hours acquiring that.
Well,
But you know
true.
the risks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but
You can always turn in
yeah.
anytime you want, but people have a tendency nowadays, because they've seen Reddit posts in the past, they've seen people in Discord servers who took a screenshot and said, "Look at this loot haul, boys. We've just turned in. Oh, we had 1.5 million gold at the end of this one."
Oh, it's a new world record.
But yeah.
Despise those posts. I always downvote them.
That's it. The longer you hold it on your ship, the more, the greater the opportunity for others
But this is
to
the
come and
whole
attempt to
point
take it,
of
and that's
Sea of
it.
Thieves. It's that you have to be on your guard all the time. It's like when we go do a bit of a voyage, all right? I think it's fair to say that you two are fairly strong on PvP. Sorry, I said do a voyage, but I usually play the role of lookout because you need that. Because somebody could just
Mm.
come round the corner any bit, and that happened to us, Chuck, when we were playing with one of my friends last week.
I
You
did.
know,
Yeah.
mean, we were in the middle of or just about to do a vault, was it? I'm trying to remember. Or was it the tall tale? Was the tall tale?
It was the tall tale.
And a brig just comes out from behind this island. The only reason I was aware of it was because I heard a cannon fire. I was like, that's a bit bizarre. What was that? And just turns out it was the island firing at another ship.
I like when the island is an alarm bell like that.
Oh,
They
yeah.
work. They work for you, especially in forts as well. So I guess it's a matter of perspective, and right, like okay, understanding what kind of game you're getting into. It's not like Destiny where you are mainly PvE environment unless you specifically go into the game mode of Gambit or Crucible. Well, then you know that Gambit's a little bit of both, but Crucible is straight up PvP. But did either of you ever play The Division or Division 2?
Momentarily.
Yep, I remember that, Chuck, we did. And Shunts, I know that, I don't think you did, but so...
I think I watched a lot of it. I think I watched you guys play it. Yeah.
So it was mainly PvE, but then you would actually go into the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone was where it was PvE and PvP. The problem with the Dark Zone was the hacking was absolutely bananas. So it wasn't fair. You knew that you would go in and you literally would lose rank. You would lose things you collected. It was not great experience for that reason. And it quickly got a reputation for that. That's not the case in Sea of Thieves. You know what you're doing. You got to keep your eyes on the horizon. And I think that maybe people... Give me your thoughts on this, gents. I think I've played this game enough, I think all of us have, to default by not trusting anyone. Don't trust another person until you talk to them and get a good vibe, and even that. Whereas probably a lot of the people that play this game, especially new players, start off by trusting. Thoughts?
I'll be honest, the last couple of times I've sailed with you two, I've not been able to trust either of you.
I mean,
that's fair and wise.
Yeah.
You know, blunderbombs getting thrown. Ace coming back, or no, I think it was Shunt, and he's like, "Why am I on the ferry?"
It's
like,
mystery.
Oh, a shark must have eaten you.
Those darn sharks. They jumped over the boat and knocked you off. They do that now. It's a new update.
But I think you're right, Ace, to go back to your point, because you see it posted all over the internet where, oh, I was in this alliance and then they broke it off at the last moment and then killed us and took our haul that we worked so hard.
So let me stop you right there. Let me interject and let you go. When we say internet, let's be specific and say Reddit. At least I'm going to say Reddit.
Well, I mean,
because I want to take
Reddit. I see it on Twitter.
I think it's really fair for people to go to both those places and see what we're talking about, because you will understand. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I definitely see it on Twitter as well. I mean, you only have to look at the hashtag Sea of Thieves to see it, or if you look at replies to people like Joe Neat or Chappers, and when you actually look at what people are tagging them in, and they're just moaning about the littlest little thing. Most of it's people still complaining about hit reg. I don't think I've ever had a issue with hit reg.
It's normally
that's another issue.
It's normally when someone gets one shot after taking like 201 doesn't hit, and they're like, "Oh, this game's broken. Oh, Johnny, you need sort." And it's like,
I wonder if his Twitter has a filter system, like a custom filter, because he must have 10,000 a day of just. But then people go on Reddit, and I remember watching posts. Guys, I just need to get this off my chest. I know, it's a pirate game, but I was in an alliance, and we did a fort, and everything was going good, and then they turned on us, and I just don't understand what. And they go down this rabbit hole of woe is me. And I'm just chuckling to myself because I'm like the whole time thinking, bro, it's a pirate.
Can I just ask, am I permitted to use curse words, or have I got to keep
absolutely.
PG-13 here? Okay, just in case I come across or stumble across something, because I've got like a couple of tabs open here on my screen, so just needs to know if I need to censor anything. But yeah, so I'm looking at a Steam review at the moment, so I'm not going to go on one of my big
Oh yes,
fun
yes,
adventures or
Do we
yes.
need
nothing.
to get a bleep button ready?
No. So there's a guy that posted something on the 26th of May, and it's nothing terrible that he's written. He's not been ranting and raving, but I completely disagree with one thing that he said, and we're on the subject of the whole toxic thing. So he said that he's not really unsure. Oh, I'm really unsure whether I should recommend this game or not. So he's listed a couple of pros: awesome piratey atmosphere, sailing. There's a lot of fun, especially when you've got friends, but also when he's sailing on his own, when he's single, slooping, and cool stories and exploration is fun. So they're the pros that he's taken from it. Right, the cons, his very first one that he's listed is straight away toxic community. Second con, you're killed on sight, no matter if you have loot, are friendly, or you're minding your own business, and then you're made fun of. And then he goes on about PV servers and there's no safe zones and all that. The fact he's put first thing on that con list is a toxic community.
That sounds to me like somebody that gets picked last in dodgeball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the amount of people I have met, and even like recently, you know, I'll give you an example. What was the guy's name we were playing with? Who was from? Was he from? Was it the guy from Iceland or was he Danish?
Oh, the Iceland
Oh,
was
man.
recently.
What
Yeah.
was his name? It began with an was it an N?
Oh, I would have to look up. Hold on.
I know who you're
feel
talking about.
terrible now. Oh no, it was an M. Was it Mikkel?
Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But right, so if the community's so toxic, yeah, right. Me and Ace, we actually bumped into Mikkel. We actually dumpstered his boat while he was at an outpost.
We sure did.
And he just was just like, Ace was taking a couple of shots, and I think like one or two missed, and he's like, "Oh, you missed that one." Yep.
Hey now,
your friend's missing a shot.
Come on now. Come on now. We
Yeah,
we can
that's
edit
it.
these. We can edit that commentary out, sir.
That sounds toxic, guys. That sounds toxic.
But he ended
I mean, I
after-
hit every shot as I recollect.
Yeah. After that happened, right, we had a little gab with him on the beach on the outpost. I think it was actually Plunder.
It was
and he
Plunder
en-
Outpost indeed.
And he ended up jumping on our boat. It was not as a member of the crew, but just come along for a little bit of a ride with us for a short amount of time.
Yeah, I wasn't
and,
sure what he was going to do, but then it turned into something pretty cool.
Yeah. But that's it. So I'm using that example just to counter this guy who's completely just off the bat just went right. Yeah, first con, toxic. Whole community. Yeah, putting a blanket over it. You're all fucking toxic.
But that's not even a unique experience for us. I think that
It's
for
it's
all three
not.
of us,
That's what I mean.
we have these experiences all the time, even when we're not playing with each other. Sorry, together. When we're not all in the same
Well,
group,
okay.
we're all playing
Whoa.
it, playing it
guy who-
ourselves.
It's
guy
not
who made
Gabe.
that
It's
review-
underway. How many
You
times do
know
I have to
what I
say
mean.
it?
The guy who made that review's got 16 hours on his record on Steam, so there we go.
Yeah, sounds about right. Please continue, Shuns.
I mean, what's that? That's like a weekend of playing it. I guess you could be unlucky
Days.
and just have bad crews.
Well, especially if you're going into okay, let's all be fair and honest and open. Speaking of open crews are terrible. You get some, but not many. The majority, over 90%, in my opinion, are terrible. You get people that join just to throw firebombs, just to find kegs and blow them, just to find treasure and dump it overboard. It's a terrible way to go if you
Chuck,
die by that.
Do you remember how we met? Were we a looking for group, or did we meet in an open crew?
No,
can't
we
remember.
were we were looking for group post. Because you, I remember you saying you had a. This is going back to the days when it was either a sloop or it was a galley, and I can't remember who done the looking for group post, but I remember that you said that you had a friend with you, which was a Mr. B Haddo.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been looking for group.
It was categorically, I can say it was a looking for group post.
Yeah, if you're gonna go on to
Yeah,
Sea
I
of
avoid
Thieves,
open
you
group.
definitely want to do LFG. Anytime I'm on Reddit trying to give advice or just in general to newbies on the sea, LFG, LFG, LFG. Because one, that gives you the opportunity to open a party or to speak to them first, right? You can vet them. You can get an idea. This person sounds pretty doggone sketchy. I don't, I don't know. My gut's telling me this is a no go, or just flat out they're terrible. Or two, you'd be like, oh, all right, they seem pretty good sense of humor, pretty laid back, but okay, they're decent to get. Okay, all right, and then you go into an experience on the seas for hours, right? Like you're not on for 5 minutes on Sea of Thieves. Let's be honest, where it's going to be teamwork. It's going to be you're going to have a laugh. It's about the journey. People are making jokes and you're having fun, versus this constant miserable experience of putting people in the brig or being put in the brig and just everything else that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so when you go into Sea of Thieves, you have all these different ways to play. There is arena. Oh, speaking of which, how fun is it to hear that when we are out on the seas causing havoc, you go
Someone
to
tells you to go
arena.
play arena. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
no.
It's like a lot of people have got the opinion that if you're after PvP, you go to arena. No, 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 no,
It's
no.
crazy.
If I want to see if I can finish atop of a placement scroll, then yes, I'll go and do arena. That's what I really want to do. But if I want to try and increase me capital at the same time, as well as the excitement, and you get a lot more adrenaline when you're chasing down a boat or you creep up with someone and you see all this treasure just float to the surface of the water. It's a big high, man. It's an absolutely massive high. You don't get that in arena.
Well, plus you don't really get that in other games. Who was that? I think it was what's his name? Flotsam, that streamer.
I've
He
got
wears a
no idea.
headband. Yeah, he's got a couple hundred people that watches him now. It's really awesome. It's really cool. So he was basically saying the reason he enjoys. He was talking to his peeps about this. The reason he enjoys adventure is it was such a great. It was so great. He viewed every boat like a pinata. He wanted to break it open and see what fell out. Because people are really good at hiding treasure. And just because you don't see glimmer doesn't mean I remember. Oh man, it wasn't with either of you. It was somebody that I LFG'd maybe. We're talking months and months ago. We dumpstered the
Wait,
sloop and so much treasure came up. It was like looking at the night sky and seeing stars, the shimmering stars. It was unreal. Like I'd never, in my 3 years on this game, seen that much treasure. And I would never have guessed it was so much. And so you just, like you said, it's a high, right? You're like, what's going to happen? What's the deal here? What's around the next corner? That always looking for the next high a little bit. I think we're addicts, I guess, if we were to describe ourselves.
look, I take offense to when anyone says, well, throws out that expression, and calls any of us toxic, because I have never. I mean, Shunts might disagree with me on this. I can't recall having, like, gone batshit crazy with someone,
Right.
calling them all sorts, insulting.
No, we
Um,
don't do that.
maybe it's got a little bit heated between the three of us when something's not gone our way. But for other crews to to start
Right.
making those accusations and calling you toxic, I don't think we play the game in a way that exploits any of the tools that Rare give players. They give everyone the chance to, be able to get away from another ship depending on what size you're on. That's where the wing comes in and which direction you sail and whether you're against it or your backs to it. And for people to come up with all these accusations, even if it's a bit of rowboat scenario, oh, you're such toxic players. I think they're
I'm
getting it
skilled,
muddled
you.
up. Well, I think they're muddling up calling someone toxic when in that scenario, I'd be quite happy and be accepting of being called a sweat.
Oh yeah.
You
So
bunch of sweats, you bringing that robos here, packed with
yeah.
gunpowder, you. Yeah, that's
So
fine.
let's
Don't call
talk
me
about
toxic
that.
because I've blown your boat up.
Let's talk about our play style, and then we can see what people may leave comments or chat about, because I find it interesting what happened. We won't say his name. We ran into a streamer that he was not streaming at the time, and became very salty. Is one way to put it with us.
Well, sorry,
And
no. Just to give a bit more context on that, we come up against a guy who
another
was
streamer,
playing the game.
yes.
Oh, I thought you meant the other streamer. Yep,
Well,
sorry,
the other
carry on.
streamer, and then the bigger streamer was in his chat, and then came on board and um, called us toxic, right? And
Yeah,
so let's talk about that. We're zooming in here, right? We're going into Sea of Thieves here. So
yeah.
what we talk about when we say toxic, we mean, I think we've kind of covered it. Are you being mean? Are you being upset? Are you calling somebody a name? Are you doing something that is harmful? Are you doing something that would be against policy? No. We tend to play the game to where we're like, we want to sink somebody so efficiently, we don't want them to have a fighting chance very much. We want to have the element of surprise, and we want to make sure that even if we die, if their ship still sinks, that's our goal. Because then we can bring our ship in and then
Sounds about right.
So we've devised a way to do that. We call it, well, I call it, I'm so proud of this, rowboat diplomacy.
There is
Actually,
no
Nope.
other name for it.
let me pop it up in chat here. What is rowboat diplomacy? Rowboat
Just as a side note, gents, so I've popped up on YouTube the Xbox official channel at the moment, and there's basically the Xbox Game Showcase Extended, where they're showing gameplay from lots of different games. It doesn't look like Sea of Thieves has popped up yet, but when it does, I'll let you know.
Great,
Okay.
I'll share the link with you privately.
great. So rowboat diplomacy just simply means get gunpowder, get a rowboat, park at an island over from another ship. We want to wait until they're busy doing something, and then we're going to row over because rowboats are really hard to see. Then we're going to get aboard your ship, and we're not going to divulge our tactics completely, but let's just say we are good at making a
Well,
lot of holes very efficiently, and then we'll defend the ship, and then bong, it's sunk. And what we get called toxic for would be that action. And I will give my opinion last, but I would love to hear your opinion on why people call us toxic for that reason.
Well, I'll just interject again on that
Yeah,
link.
go ahead.
The new Battlefield gameplay is coming up next on that link.
Oh, so much to talk about. I might have to do another XboxAce show just on Battlefield this weekend.
I'm just
Continue.
wondering if I can send you the embedded link for this video, if you can try that, the web source again.
Yeah,
Just
we'll do
quickly.
that another time. We'll do that another time.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah. But go ahead and get opine on my opinion.
Sorry, you'll have to repeat it again because of that Battlefield thing's just completely thrown me.
So Shunts just put a monkey wrench in the gears. Got it.
I apologize.
Don't feel bad, Shunts. It's okay. It's only a moment in time that'll live on in infamy. So I was explaining about rowboat diplomacy, and before I give my opinion on why people think that's toxic and why I think it's not toxic, Shunts, you go first, and then Chuck. Why do you think that people call that toxic, and then why do you think it's not toxic? And then go ahead, Chuck.
I think the only reason people can think of that as toxic is because it's sneaky. And there's nothing wrong with that with the gameplay design. That's one of the main reasons they added the rowboat. But that can be the only way that people are just, oh, you're toxic because they expect you to play with the larger ships. But that's not the only option. All right, the game's a sandbox. You're given tools. You're free to use them however you want. The developers have been very clear on that. I don't think it's toxic at all. Chuck?
I agree. It's not toxic in the slightest, and you've just used that exact expression I was going to use, which was, you've got the tools that are in the game. We're not doing anything to exploit how effective or how they operate. We're literally just using them as they're presented to us. Even there's even been days where I've gone on a little merry swim and oh yeah, look, oh yeah, this brig's it's pulling up with this that. Yep, I'll get him here. Oh no, they're setting off. Oh, do you come back to the ship, Chuck? No, I'm still swimming. I'm still swimming. Oh, shark. Yep, killed it. And I've managed to get on a boat and kill the crew and blow it up. And I don't know why people look down on that, because when you're in a situation like that, you're still committing a lot of time. I mean, it'd be quicker for us to just sail on over with maybe an island obscuring us and getting up on them, as we have done in the past as well. But we've got to appreciate that you've put in a lot of time and effort in a lot of these scenarios to put yourself in a position. And
your crew's in a vulnerable position.
yeah, exactly. Your boat's
for
just
one,
lying there.
yeah.
Someone else could creep up on our ship.
And as has happened to us, unfortunately, on a few occasions, you're only one sniper shot away from oblivion.
You are, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it cannot be construed as being, I'm gonna say it's, some people consider it to be a toxic play style. It's not. It cannot be made to be a toxic play style. It's in the game. Use it how you see fit. You've got an objective. There's other pirates on the seas with potentially booty on board, which you've got just as much right as anyone else to try and take it. That's the position we're in the game now, playing it for over 3 years. We've got a absolute shit ton of cosmetics. There's not a great deal of stuff we need to box off in that game. And for me personally, 90%, I'd say 90% of my time I'm playing that game now, I only want to switch on and play it with the intention to have those interactions with crews.
Get those pinatas a bursting.
Yeah, I'd rather not be called names and people shouting obscene things at me. And for someone like that to be using all these curse words and then calling me toxic, it's like, really? Am I looking at this the wrong way round here?
So
you're the one being toxic.
Right, because you're the one cussing, you're calling names. Just because we're really good at taking your treasure really quickly doesn't mean that we're toxic. So here's the other thing that I want to throw out there to you all, is you have, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I hate when that happens. But it was basically about being toxic. Yeah, it's one of those things, playing the game, that you never know what you're going to run into. Now I remember. So I still play the game. My name is XboxAce on Twitch. So guess what? I play on Xbox. I stream. I use keyboard and mouse, which helps on my Xbox. But there's certain reasons I haven't made the switch to PC, like Chuck here has. Shunts is still playing on an Xbox. But for years, plural, I was always in an Xbox Live party. And I didn't interact with people for years on the seas because I never heard the in-game chat. And since you switched to PC, you've been doing a lot more of the interacting. And then I started watching YouTube videos where all these crazy and great interactions are happening. I'm like, I'm missing out. So as much as we've had negative experiences or bad people or people that are mad at us, whatever, man, how many great experiences have happened since I've been fairly insistent on in-game chat. And there's some limitations and some downsides, like you're hot micing and people can hear you. But we've gotten good at knowing when to talk, when not to talk, and we have code words and stuff too. But it's almost like another door, another plateau has opened up, this other arena in the game, which is social interaction when you're in a fight with somebody, and how it goes. It can go south or pear-shaped, or it can go really good, and someone joins your crew for the afternoon, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agree.
And meeting people all over the world, right? Like, I'm broadcasting here from Spain. You guys are in the UK, but we've met people from Denmark, Finland, Russia, Ukraine, Hungary, US,
Just don't mention Iceland. Shunts will tell you he's been there
Iceland.
5 times.
Shunts has been to Iceland more times
I've
than
only
you can
been once,
imagine. You don't
but
even
I'd
have
like to
enough
go.
fingers and toes,
I'd like to go
chat, to
again.
even know.
It's a beautiful country.
You only wish you could be little Shunts right now, because you would be like, I've been to Iceland so many times. Inside joke. So it's one of these things where I regret not being in game chat a lot more, and I certainly tip my hat to the people on PC because you can do both Xbox Live Party and here in game chat.
Yeah, and do you know what as well with yourself, being on the Xbox Ace, and I know you were a little bit worried at first when I was getting you, you'd having to play on PC servers with me all the time because, whatever anyone says, and I've said this in the past when I was on the Xbox, and I'll still say it while I'm on PC. If you're on PC, the tide's in your favor. Tide is in your favor, absolutely.
100%.
So what makes me laugh is when Ace has gone over and like demolished someone who's clearly a PC player, and they'll be just spitting feathers. They'll be fuming, and again, name calling has to come out. Insults have to throw around
Oh.
everywhere. Oh,
That link now.
that link now. Where have
All
you sent
right.
the link, Discord?
Stop interrupting our trains of thought, Shunts.
Where have you sent the link?
It's on your WhatsApp.
Which we will get to later, chat. We promise.
We will.
But continue, Paul.
Yeah, chain of thought.
2 strikes,
Done it
Shunts.
again.
2 strikes.
Well, I said I'd let you know when it was.
He did.
It's on just now, so.
Well, we
There
look
we go.
forward to watching that after the show. So now,
Yeah, we'll watch it later.
now we
Hold
get
that
around
one
to.
first.
So I think we've explained our point on Sea of Thieves, that we know about the game, we've played the game a lot, we have the experience to know what we're talking about. We've played different styles too. Like some days we're just into grinding. You mentioned 90% of the time you're in for PvP. I'm probably like 70, I'd say, because I'm happy to do a merchant mission. I'm happy to do Gold Hoarder. But I will say this: once I switched to keyboard and mouse on my Xbox, I became a lot less afraid of PvP, and that's a heartening thing.
I
To be
agree.
able to hit
Yeah.
cannon shots and be decent at PvP, that takes a lot of the fear out of the game. And when you're going into a situation with confidence, that really helps, I find.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I played on controller for a long time, like yourself, Ace, and I was never really that confident doing PvP. Nowhere near the level that Chuck was, but
Because you've switched
know,
over to
control-
keyboard and mouse, right?
I did, and what a difference that made. It really did. Like I wouldn't have even said I was good at PvP, but I think part of that is because I was so used to always getting beat when I was using a controller.
Yeah.
So the switch to keyboard and mouse made that huge difference.
And it's interesting because I'll play Warzone. I've gone back and forth, keyboard and mouse or controller. And right now, I'm favoring the controller because I find it more fluid. But also, that aim assist is hard. That aim assist is hard to give up, for sure.
Well, I was just gonna. If you weren't gonna mention that, I was gonna intercept there and mention that. I think that's what makes it a little bit, hard to drop on cards if you have been predominantly playing with a controller. But certainly with Sea of Thieves, there's no negative to it by using a keyboard and mouse. You're not missing nothing. Nothing's being taken away. If Sea of Thieves has an aim assist for your Eye of Reach or your blunderbuss or whatever.
Oh, the blunderbuss, man. That thing. Ugh. Yeah. But see, that's one of the things. I think people are getting some advanced tips from us here. We've played the game for years. We know a lot about it. But we've also played it with controller, without controller, using keyboard and mouse on PC. Like, and you'll talk about you and Shunts have the higher frame rates. I'm still stuck at 30 because I don't have a Series X. But that's a big change, and the refresh rate of your monitor probably matters more in Call of Duty. But there's still certainly with a solid state drive, getting back on a ship after dying. Ugh,
Yeah.
I still
it's
stare
a
at black
huge
screens.
difference. Huge
My ship will
difference.
sink 10 times in a row before I'll get back to it sometimes.
Yeah, that really used to annoy me because it was a bit well, it was actually quite noticeable back when I was still using my original day one Xbox One, whereas yourself and Chuck both had the One X, which had a faster physical hard drive in it, even though it was still a spindle-based hard drive, because it ran at 7200 RPM as opposed to 5400. There was that difference. You loaded in faster, and it had a faster processor, more RAM, etc., etc.
So we need Xbox to make and release these consoles again because it is rough. And I'm on a Series X, or an Xbox One X. That's not a slouch system. I've been gaming in 4K for years. PS5 is the first PlayStation that actually is in true 4K, and they're acting like, oh my god, this is. It's like, listen, people, everybody's got their thing. Sea of Thieves is not on PlayStation, but it is on Xbox and PC, and we have some things to look forward to, and I think that's fun, and I think that's a great segment and a great segue. Speaking of things to look forward to, cough or not, cough cough, is the Disney season 3 partner with Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life. That
Oh,
is
they're bringing out
huge.
new content. Oh, I didn't know that.
I did. Yeah, I guess that's the case. I just kind of heard about it in the ether.
Well,
There, it wasn't really too talked about at all for any length of time. Anyways,
yes. Well, I do see that the gameplay section of gameplay that I saw live on the Xbox channel is
so
now as its own separate video on YouTube, so we can watch that later on.
yeah. So I just
Um,
want to say that if for anybody watching this live, or if you're watching this on replay or a rerun, go ahead and pause and then go and watch the video. Don't do it now if you're listening live, but go and watch the trailer if you've not seen it, so that you're clued in to the rest of this conversation. Essentially, I knew something was kind of cool with the music. They caught me with the first opening 3 seconds with the flag and the music. I was like, okay, what's going on
yeah,
here?
which looks like the Disney castle. Yeah,
It does, and that's obviously
Cinderella's
what they're
castle.
going
Yeah.
for. I just watched Stranger Tides. I still have to watch Dead Men Tell No Tales, but I'm trying to get caught up on the Pirates of the Caribbean in anticipation for this coming week. But there is, at least, if you can say nothing else, the production value going into this trailer looks like there's definitely some money put into it. Before I give my opinion, I would love to hear you two talk about it.
Well, I will agree that it was a good-looking trailer. There's no denying that. But certainly, what we saw, or what the only one we've seen so far, was the reveal trailer. There's now the gameplay trailer. If people are watching back this stream at a later date, it should still be the two most recent videos on the official Sea of Thieves channel. So go give them a watch, as Ace said. Um, when I first saw it, when I was watching Microsoft's E3 brief live, I have to be honest, I was a bit taken aback, and not in a good way. I I, I was quite disappointed, and that's not because it's a feast for the eyes. Of course, it is. It looked great, um, but I've always really liked the stories that have evolved through Sea of Thieves, and I think it's fair to say that all three of us kind of taken time to learn the lore and the history of Sea of Thieves, even though I forget the name of some island sometimes in some players, which
You mean like
is
multiplayer islands?
yeah, like multiplayer island. Um, but yeah, I have reservation about how Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, as American viewers would say, links in with the current Sea of Thieves lore, and I just think there's a few gaps in it. And I've been trying to think about this over the past few days. I won't dive too deeply into it because I'll let Chuck give his kind of initial thoughts on it. But that's my main concern, is that how does this new expansion complement the existing lore? I don't want it to overwrite what's already been there, like been written. Although that would be classic Disney, wouldn't it? With like look at how they approach, or well, like Marvel, for instance, they just oh, we'll just reboot a series because it doesn't make sense now. We'll just reboot it. So I don't want that. I don't want the history to just disappear and be overwritten. Chuck.
Yeah, so I've obviously when we watched the reveal trailer and we were having discussions that evening about it, I was quite vocal, and even the last couple of days as well on XboxAce's Discord. I've made my feelings clear that I am in no uncertain terms, I am completely against this. I just look at the whole, oh yeah, here you go, is Disney coming in. I just see it as like, a global conglomerate, if you like, coming into the small guy and going, yep, thank you very much, there we go. I mean, I know, obviously it's going to be quite a lucrative, probably a lucrative deal for both parties, to be honest. It's going to give Sea of Thieves a lot more exposure. I just don't like the fact that I was getting all hyped up to see what this new content is of Sea of Thieves, season 3 coming up. I was looking forward to seeing things like, oh, what new emotes are we going to have, or what new cosmetics are we going to see? Are there any new gameplay mechanics being introduced on this update? And to be honest, in the past, I've been completely deflated with some of the updates because it's been just general, oh, we're doing a little bit of this. This is just going to be like a maintenance sort of update, and you could understand that when, Rare were pushing out an update every single month. But obviously they've moved to this new seasons format, and where it's like a quarterly update. And I'm a player who has completed all of the Tall Tales, done them multiple times to get the rewards, and here I am presented with a trailer which is showing us Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, and further investigation has revealed that this new season is basically going to revolve around some new tall tale stories. Now, if it was like what you were saying the other day, Shunt, if it was continuity with the current tall tales, then yeah, you know what? I'd be happy with that. Or what new case are they going to give us? I just, it's like you, man. I just cannot, for the life of me, understand how this is all going to tie in. I read that report. I think was it the Eurogamer one? They were giving like their little thoughts on it. You sent me the link the other day.
Yeah, there was a Eurogamer article and there's a Variety article as well, which
I think it might have been the Variety one actually.
yeah.
And they were saying that they were making the case that Joe and Eat at Rare, they've been working on this for a while, and they pretty much think that they've got all this tied in great detail. But I just, for the life of me, can't fathom how. And we've both mentioned this as well about the how Captain Jack is portrayed in the game. Even watching him back now on that first video, he just looks out of place.
Well, I will say in the gameplay footage that I glanced at, there seems to be some improvements there and seems to blend in a bit better. But we'll come to that later towards the end. But
So for me, I'll just finish off. For me, season 3, my expectations was going to be, another season full of nice new content. Maybe, if, as I say, an introduction of a new mechanic. I don't know. Maybe some new voyages, new treasure. I don't know. Are we going to see anything like that if the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Pirates' life is going to be more story based? I don't know. I'm hoping, but as I say, I'm not going to cast my final judgments on it. Don't get me wrong, I'll play it. Whether that's going to be on the release date of the 22nd of June, there's enough there to pique my interest. I guess we'll find out in a week's time. Oh, 5 days actually. 5 days.
They launched it very quickly. I would think they would have had a more like a month free, a month of heads up, like they have with the Hungering Deep or the Forsaken Shores. It seems like a very quick turnaround. Am I wrong?
Well, I suppose part of that is because season 2 is due to finish anyway, and if season 2 is the same length as season 1,
Right.
then players will want their third season, and
I understand,
think
but
if
for
they
something
do,
this epic, I'm not complaining.
I mean,
By
it's
the
been
way,
2 years in the making.
right? No,
Two
but my
years.
point is, it just seems like if you're going to
Yeah.
introduce something this huge, that normally, typically, marketing, you're going to market it for a month, probably not 2 weeks,
Well,
and
eyes are all on
so I'm surprised by that.
E3 just now. Microsoft has just shown their extended kind of gameplay footage of various games there. So whilst the world's media, their eyes are on E3, I guess there's your
They're just
opportunity.
riding
Maybe
the
they
hype
thought that,
hype wave.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
if we go hell to leather during this week of E3, then that will drum up enough popularity, or sorry, enough interest even, than we could ever do in just a normal month. Maybe that was their thinking.
Yeah, it must be. So I guess, and I appreciate everybody's opinion here. I think Shunts, if I'm tracking with everything, if I'm tracking with everything you're saying, you're cautiously optimistic, but you have your doubts. Would that be
Yeah,
fair?
I would say that's fair.
And then, yep, go ahead.
Just because it's mainly over the lore. That's why I've
Okay.
no doubt it'll be fun. I think it'll be full of like really good new, fresh game mechanics. I think there'll be lots of that. It just part of me wonders that if you had taken away the Disney branding and just had new, fresh characters that we interacted with, would it have just been as good? That is where my thinking's coming from.
Yeah, but Joe Neat has dollar signs for eyes now. So cautiously optimistic, but you have your doubts. And then Chuck, it's fair to say that you are
I'm just very
poo pooing
skeptical.
it. You're poo pooing it. You're not happy at all.
Look,
And
the
so,
one thing that's definitely tipped me towards the not liking it was that image, that media image that I cast my eyes upon, where Captain Jack is holding that ferryman's cutlass, and I'm glad that Shunts was well, he's put me to ease a little bit there by saying that Rare have said that you're not going to be able to get that cutlass, but why use it?
okay,
Is it
now
something to do with the story? I
okay,
don't know.
The game,
so
maybe
I
you bought
think
the controller.
I think it's really important, Chuck, that you take a moment to describe why this is an important detail to you.
Because I spent bloody hard-earned money to get that cutlass.
Well, what cutlass is it, right? For those that maybe don't know.
Okay, so when the Sea of Thieves game launched, a couple of months later, they released the Sea of Thieves limited edition controller. So if anyone is watching currently now or post stream, go and do a little Google search: Sea of Thieves limited edition Xbox One controller, and it is probably the best looking themed controller that there's ever been. Inside the box, when you bought that controller, there was a Sea of Thieves DLC code, which give you a couple of items, and it was all based around the ferryman. And these codes ended up being sold for ridiculous amounts of money for people who wants to profit off them. Myself didn't know that was happening. I wouldn't have even cared. Yeah, I bought the controller. I've got a little code here. I'm using it. So those controllers are very, very hard to come by now, and to get one or to even just get that code, yeah, it's congratulations if you manage to pick one up now. But if you do, I'm gonna guess you're gonna pay a good bit of money for it.
I think the
So
price I saw was about $650.
yeah, so the
Lot.
fact that there was that image released with Captain Jack with this ferryman's cutlass, sporting quite proudly, I was just like, oh no. Oh no, what's happening here? Now, because I like to have items that are quite exclusive, and I think because we've played the game quite early on, we'll have amongst us a few items that any new players now won't have access to. They won't get them. And I like the fact that you've got that like exclusivity on some items. And if you remember when Ray introduced when you could go up to Duke when he was brought into the game and you could go and speak to him and check the black market out, and they started bringing out ship sets that were based off one that was originally done via commendations that was like time limited, but all they done was basically just change the color of it slightly and give it a varied name. So that I can live with. That I can live with now. If Captain Jack would have been holding, say, a silver coloured ferryman cutlass, yeah, fine, whatever. I'll get over it. But yeah, it was a little bit scary just seeing him with the gold and with the emerald coloured eyes on the unicorn. It was horrible. So yeah, I'm 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 just I don't know. It's all sketchy this to me, and I'm just very skeptical. And the fact that there's not been much revealed about, um, what's actually in this Disney related content. That's all I'm skeptical about. And my worst scenario out of all this is it'll just be, here you go, guys. We've got 5 Pirates of the Caribbean inspired tall tales for you to do.
So, in case anybody's curious how far down the rabbit hole we are in this game, if the last 4 minutes didn't 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 quite explain to you how far down we are, we're pretty far down. That we get this upset over cosmetics. And remember,
Let's just say if we were coming,
there's no RPG aspect. It's all cosmetics.
yeah, we're past V1 rotate. We're committed to take off now.
Yeah, we're past the point of no return. So I guess I'll be the voice that is optimistic about it. And I'm not even a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan. I would say they're like Star Wars. I enjoy them, but I don't really. Yeah, and that would be the original trilogy of Star Wars. So in an effort to catch up, I've watched 1, and I like 1 the best. I think 1's great. 2 and 3, not a huge fan, especially 3. I think 3 is terrible. Then everybody that likes all of those movies poo-pooed 4 and 5. So I watched 4 the other day, which is Stranger Tides. I'm like, that's not too bad. There's definitely some mythology and it's magic kind of part of it, the world, which is fine. And I've not seen the 5th one, but I'm starting to see where people really, if they have a strong opinion about 2 and 3, it's like people that love the prequels and don't love the original trilogy of Star Wars. It's like, or like the 7, 8, 9 the best, and they don't like the original. It's like, well, that tells me everything I need to know. So I'm watching it, and I'm looking at the trailer, because I'm like, man, I need to get caught up in the world. And they have some of the familiar characters. What is it, Mr. Gibbs, right, with the like big pork chop sideburns and stuff. And of course, Jack is there. Who is, just really quickly before I continue expounding, who do we know who the skeleton that gets the head put on? He's like, new body, finally. What? Do we know who that is?
People think it's Barbossa, but I don't think it is.
Okay, I've not seen 5. I don't know if he's dead or alive, so I have to figure it out. It's not exactly a spoiler at this point with so many years in between the movies. We should know this by now, and this is why I wanted to watch it. So here's what I'm thinking. Rare approached Disney, not the other way around. So that heartens me. And Rare aren't idiots. So they've got that. Yes, they're trying to make money and a name for themselves. They already have a name for themselves, but go even more into epicness or whatever. So Rare approached it. Rare sold them on it. It wasn't the other way around, which means that it was on Rare's. Their idea, and it's on their terms pretty much. I'm sure there's some give and take, but basically their idea, right? So you take that, and I think you take a portal. I don't know that it even takes place in Sea of Thieves, so that is yet to be seen. So if it takes place in Sea of Thieves, then I'm more on Chuck's side. If it doesn't take place in Sea of Thieves, I think I would love to see new islands, new buildings, if there's new places to explore, because, I mean, my God, how many hours have we spent on these islands, right? Not that I don't like it, But imagine new places to go. That really excites me. I think that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to fighting Davy Jones. I think that's a cool ship, man. When that ship came up out of the water, I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool to fire over there. Use the cannons on Davy Jones. I think that's pretty neat. I think the experience will be fun. I don't know that I'm wrapped around the axle about the Sea of Thieves lore as much as you two are. I don't know that I'm that
Well,
intertwined with it
just
because I
take
don't know that there's a ton of it. There's the
just take
tall.
Davy
Okay, hold on,
Jones.
hold on, hold on. I'll give you a chance. You had your chance, sir. So when, so when there is story there are characters. They spoon feed it. In my opinion, the story is a lot like Destiny. It's maybe a mile wide but an inch deep, and if they want to bring in Pirates of the Caribbean, if as long as they don't make it a stew, as long as they don't dump everything into the Sea of Thieves and muddle the lore, I agree that's bad for business, and I'll be shocked and amazed if Rare actually goes that route. I don't think they will. I'd like to think that we'll be pleasantly surprised. Either way, it's kind of a new adventure. It's an epic adventure, and something that'll be fun to stream and get into with friends. Go ahead.
I just
Well,
don't think it's a necessity.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. See, I see a few problems in the lore, and this might be
So,
good discussing it.
I want mix in this thought with your problems with the lore. Think about what this is going to do to draw in new players. Go ahead.
Oh, true, true. It will bring in more players, but at the same time, I don't think I've ever been on a server where I've not, sorry, where I've had issues finding other players. I don't think I think there's a lot of people there already. But yeah, I know more players means, there's more microtransactions, so the development's getting paid for. It stays at the forefront of Rare and Microsoft's mind.
I
I
mean,
get that. I think it's definitely good for the game. Whether it's good for the story, which is where my main concern is still to be seen.
Compared to PvP, how much do you play the story though?
Well, right now well, not right now, but recently I've been going through the Tall Tales again.
But when was the last time you did that? 2 years ago?
no, last week.
Just last week.
Okay,
Been
before then.
the
Before
week
this
No, the week
recent push.
before.
So-
Yeah.
No, no, no. Well, my point is, you hadn't gone through Tall Tales until this recent push. You have a friend. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for a friend.
no, I
But
have been
before
I
that,
have been myself. Just because I've not done each one 5 times yet, I'm still working towards the curse. So sometimes now
oh,
that they've
Grey
added the
Marrow. Good God.
checkpoints in, now that they've added the checkpoints in, I can kind of just jump on by myself if I ever want to and play a little bit of it.
By the
Um,
way, I do want to say, I do want to mention, I'm not saying this should be anybody else's line in the sand, but this is my personal line in the sand. If somebody is on a tall tale, I will not sink them. I will not, well, anymore.
yeah, same.
I have
And I've
a
done it once
see,
or twice.
my pirate code differs a little with AC. It's not just a case of whether or not they're doing a tall tale or not. It's whether they've got treasure on the ship or also if they're flying an emissary flag.
Yeah, I think
So
if you're doing a tall tale but you have an emissary flag up, well, first of all,
mm,
that's a bit of
that's.
a faux
I
pas.
mean, we're taking your flag, and there's
Uh,
only one way it's coming off, and unfortunately, that
yeah,
means
if you raise
you've
a
got to go
flag,
down and see Davy Jones.
yeah,
All
if
right,
you raise a flag,
I'd like to
you have to be
amend my
prepared to lose it.
statement. I agree with Chuck. That is my code too. But if you are on a tall tale and you don't have an emissary, I'm gonna let that pinata
Oh yeah,
go.
Yeah,
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 you can
same.
sail on. Yeah, yeah.
So you're
So,
worried? Yeah. So you're doing the tall tales again.
uh, yeah, sorry, you'd asked me if I still play the Tall Tales and how involved in the lore I am. I still read about um things from Sea of Thieves. I quite enjoy looking at some of the wikis that have been made from the community
Do you
and
have the
kind of
comic book?
refreshing my mind. I don't have the comic book, but I was going to get the audiobook
Are you
because I
gonna
did
get the
listen.
audiobook?
I
Okay.
listened to a few of the sample chapters actually, which are all up on YouTube on the official Sea of Thieves channel. So um, give a listen if anyone's not tried them yet. They're quite good actually. Um, so yeah, so I actually do quite enjoy the lore. So this is why I have reservations about Disney. Now I would now be an appropriate time to discuss that, like my concerns with it.
Oh, I thought you already did. Go ahead.
Oh well, like for instance, you've got Davy Jones, who in the Pirates of the Caribbean lore, I'm trying to remember what his ship was, but basically his job was to ferry souls to the afterlife. So that's a very similar role to the ferryman.
Ferryman, yeah.
Now, I have been reading through on the forums, and there is a slight distinction between them. And one is that the
One is named
ferryman,
Davy and one is not.
no, the ferryman in the Sea of Thieves brings souls back to life. He allows pirates a second chance, whereas Davy Jones takes souls beyond. They don't get a second chance. So they, they're very similar roles. I don't know if that will be brought up in the DLC, but that's one concern. The other is that there's no mention of the pirate lord in Pirates of the Caribbean. This is one of the biggest things. And you could say, oh, but maybe the pirate lord only exists within the Sea of Thieves. Well, that's not true, because when you first start the game as a new player, you meet the pirate lord, you're introduced to the pirate lord, and you're on the island, which is essentially the tutorial, and he breaks the shroud in order for you to enter the Sea of Thieves. So he exists outside of the shroud, and yet the pirate lord doesn't exist in Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's kind of two major things. I can get on board with they are approximately the same era, so the 18th century, kind of the 1750 to kind of 1780 is when a lot of the kind of pirating was going on. I can kind of get that Sea of Thieves is also set in the same era. It's not like we have electricity or anything like that in the Sea of Thieves. So yeah, I just there's just some fundamental things of Sea of Thieves lore that I just can't see how it can be explained. But I will keep an open mind because I trust Rare as a developer. I've always trusted Rare. I think they're a good studio. I think to a certain degree they listen to their fans. They definitely listen to their fans. Whether or not they act on feedback they get is another story. But yeah, that's kind of my main concerns. I don't know what your reaction is to that.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Oh, well, for me,
Yeah, just on the kind of 2 points that I spoke about, mainly the fact that the pirate lord's existence doesn't really exist in
yeah.
the Pirates of the Caribbean universe.
Well, this is going back to how
Davy
it's
Jones.
like tying in, and I guess I don't know. You see, because we're sort of blind at the moment, aren't we? You know, we've watched the reveal trailer, and we've got this new one to see whether that'll divulge any further clues or information. But I guess we won't know the full extent of that until it's live and we're doing these um not so quite anticipated tall tales for me to go and complete.
So I
But
guess
yeah,
I think I have a good thought here. Here's where I'm landing on whether people are going to like this or not like this. So I readily admit you two are way more into the lore in this game than I am. I'm way more surface. I'm like, it's a pirate game. Yes, there's Flameheart. It's a big flame head. He was once on the seas and he's back. You know, for those of us that pay attention but not super duper attention, right? Like just enough to be like, okay, there's the Wild Rose and there's Briggsy. It's another captain, and but I don't know much about the backstory or care to listen and go down that rabbit hole. When we see Pirates of the Caribbean, we're like, oh, okay, well, that's just an addition. It's more cool pirate stuff. On that level, I think that's where the people that really like it are landing versus those such as you gentlemen that are very take it personal, right? Like you've invested so many hours, thousands of hours into playing in the world and learning about the characters and the lore, and you enjoy it, and you don't want to see that muddled with or diminished in any way. And I totally get that as well.
I think my biggest fear of the game with the direction with Disney coming in and Pirates of the Caribbean and that is that maybe you know, we're going to go away from seeing a lot of people in all these tuck outfits and this, that, and the other, and everyone's going to be running around looking like Captain Jack Sparrow.
So,
I think we're going to see an introduction of a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean cosmetics.
And this is the thing.
why is that bad though?
Because if this would have been originally released as a Pirates of the Caribbean game, I'm not into the whole. I don't want them to change direction, and I don't want them to change. Like, I know they're going to keep the art style the same. Nothing's going to change on that front, but I don't want something else coming in, Disney or not, and then having a big influence on, you know, things like cosmetics. Like, oh yeah, look at this. So, like, I don't know. Does he have a figurehead on the front of his boat, Captain? I don't know. What's his boat? Is it the Black Pearl? Or am I just making that up?
Jack Sparrow's ship.
Yeah,
that's a Black Pearl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and does it have a figurehead? You know, this is what I mean. Are we going to end up
Maybe.
having like all these ships sailing around with?
Well, listen, I will take that 1,000 times, any time over, the Reaper Assassin, the Assassin's Reaper Creed outfit. Like, I just can't take that.
No, don't get me wrong, but still, but you see, this is the thing. Stuff like that, it's still original content from Rare. It's, you know, they've
I understand, but you never step into the same river twice, and the only thing constant in life is change. So I don't know. I think that it's a wait and see. What's really going to be interesting is when we unpack what we think of it on the other side of this. If you guys,
it's now a case of, are Disney going to have a foothold in this, and maybe, you know, are we going to start seeing development swaying more towards, I don't know, a continuation of this sort of branch?
This thing, after this, the lore is permanently affected. You know,
Yeah.
all the players will have interacted with these Disney characters. They can't just go away. So that's my concern a little bit.
I don't know. I think that I echo Shunts when he says that he has faith in Rare, and I do as well. This is a game that we all really enjoy. We really love. We continue to play, continue to stream, continue to profit from in large margins. And
I tell you what, I will
forward,
completely, wholeheartedly embrace this whole Disney thing. Yeah, if I can have a pet that looks like Donald Duck on my ship.
Well, would now be maybe a good time for us all to load up this gameplay video and take a look. I'm wary of time, but if we were to all load it up, have a look, and then that gives us some time for some thoughts afterwards.
Okay, so chat, what we're going to do is we're going to load up the trailer that Shunts has sent us. I'm actually loading it up in my browser, Shunts, so if you could tell me, where is it on YouTube?
I would just go to the Sea of Thieves official channel and find the latest video that they've uploaded, yeah.
Okay. So Sea of Thieves, original channel. And so we're not going to show it here, one, because I don't know how. Two, I'm worried about a copyright strike. So the gameplay trailer, that's 1 minute and 39 seconds long, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm ready to press play on it when you all are, so let me know.
I am ready.
I'm not ready yet.
Okay, so it's got the thumbnail is Captain Jack Sparrow with the sword over his shoulder.
It is.
Okay, so you said it was the one that was 1 minute 39 seconds, yeah?
Mm-hmm. So chat, we would like to recommend that you go ahead and if you're watching this on replay or on rerun, replay you can pause. Go ahead and pause right now and watch this trailer so that you can go with us on the reaction on the back end. So are you all ready?
Ready.
I am.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, play.
Remember, this is the day your crew was joined by Captain Jack Sparrow.
Okay. That's a lot of
To the Sea of Thieves. Quick as you like.
narration by Jack Sparrow.
It's time to bridge the worlds and take
Looks like
our
they're going
rightful
through.
places as lords of the sea.
Now
character
we
models
have
look good.
awoken, and we are hungry.
Oh, the
Perhaps
Kraken.
I'll take ye on the grand tour of me fallen kingdom.
That doesn't look like Sea of
Keep
Thieves.
taking a tumble. Not everyone's as steady on their feet as I am.
That doesn't
This
look like
is the first
that
place
does.
I've found where everyone appreciates my uniqueness.
Okay.
They're
I like the
coming aboard!
enemies.
Keep your crusty claws off me!
Davy Jones wishes
That's
you
the new island.
destroyed, and I shall oblige him.
What is that infernal
That's
noise?
new.
That's Captain Infernal Noise to you, mate!
Sparrow! Destroy that statue, and there'll be the double to pay.
Enough of this. Hear me, my
So you got Davy
daughter.
Jones as an event, world event.
More than
It's like quite a boss fight, that.
Whatever they've
And
told
we
you
finally
is not
saw
true.
the Kraken face.
Unless it's flattering, in which case, it's all true, but they left out the best bits. Savvy?
Okay, so we watched the gameplay trailer. That makes me a little less happy. I guess. I think it'll be fun. I'm going to look forward to it because of the newness. I think that's fun. But I noticed Davy Jones. He's a world. He's in the sky. He's a cloud. His beard. So that means that we're going to be able to go and fight Davy Jones as a world event. I love that. That is awesome.
Wait, was that like a world event in the main world?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves. If you look, he's in the sky.
Yeah.
His beard. That's him.
No, his beard is, but if you have a look at the island that he's over, that's not an island that I recognise as being in the main Sea of Thieves world.
Just scrubbing.
1 minute and 8.
Got it. Yeah. No, I don't recognize that silhouette. Could be.
I think that's just something from one of the
You
tall
think?
tales. Yeah.
It's
I
too
don't
tall.
know, man.
And also, there's no other
You
islands
always
around
remember-
it. Usually, you can see more than one island at
Infernal
any
noise.
one time.
That's Captain Infernal Noise to you, mate!
I think all of this content will be going through
A portal.
those portals that you were
That's
talking
what I'm
about.
thinking.
once.
Yeah, I think that's the case, right? And you see the ships going through, so it's not like we're giving away inside baseball or anything. I think this is a different. I think it'll be a place you can go to when you want as part of the tale, and I think that's like a boss battle, maybe.
So one thing I'll say is probably in our own times we'll probably want to go back and see the video that was live on the Xbox channel, because that trailer was split up with some commentary from Joe Neat and some of the other developers, which that doesn't have. So they might be elaborating a bit more on elements. So I'll definitely be interested to watch it again with audio.
Yeah,
But the fuller video, which was on the Xbox channel.
but there's new. You got the staff that shoots the green orb or whatever. That's cool. You got new, like a lot of new. We have a lot of hours playing this game with same old, and I think that if we're gonna play it, I think the important thing is to kind of go in with a good attitude. It's like a movie, right? Not set your expectations too high, don't set them too low, but just be like, you know what? I think this is going to be something that I'd like to think I'll enjoy, and let's see how it unfolds.
Mm.
So for those of you listening that are following moi, on the 22nd of June, we'll be streaming and we playing this. So we'll be putting together a crew to investigate. We'll see if these scallywags with me here will come along. I don't know. But in any event, this is big news for Sea of Thieves. In any event.
Absolutely. I do look forward to playing it. I'm just worried about the lasting impact that it will have on the game.
So if you all would like, what we can do is once we've played it and have a good feel for it, why don't we all come back and give our thoughts at some point?
I think it would really be fair. Yeah, I like that.
To let everybody know what we think, that interact with us and follow us, and so I think that'd be kind of fun. Is there anything else? Any kind of closing thoughts or remarks that you all may have?
Well, I guess I look forward to seeing it. The gameplay certainly looks like there's so much going on. I think I need to rewatch it again just to absorb it. But I'm going to play it. I'll try keep an open mind. Like I said, I trust Rare. We'll see what happens. But I look forward to coming back and discussing this. And thanks for having us.
Right on. Chuck, any final comments?
Um, do I want to go and meet Captain Jack, or do I want to go and pat me meerkats?
Well, I think
Yeah.
that we can all go ahead.
Completely. Yeah. It's still, as Sean said, open-minded at this point, but yeah, a lot of reservations and a lot of uncertainty on how I'm going to respond to it. I mean, ultimately, yeah, is it a good game for the game? Is it a good thing for Sea of Thieves? You know, having some or an increased financial security while they've got other things going on. I mean, absolutely, yeah, it's going to be a good thing for them. Sean's touched on the microtransactions earlier on. Um, I mean, God, yeah, there'll be so many people who'll, you know, if there's any items they can buy on the Pirate Emporium relating to Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm sure they're going to be well received either way, even given my criticisms earlier on. But yeah, if it keeps the game active, keeps the game going, it's not going to be a bad thing. But yeah, I just don't want any, and I just don't want it affecting the game negatively. So we'll see. If I'm playing on the 22nd with you, great. I guess
You'll be
it all
playing.
boils down to how
So
keen
we
I am
certainly want Chuck too,
to.
but as always with the crew that we roll with, there's never any pressure, right? And that's the great thing about Sea of Thieves is you kind of go in and out of it. I find I'm more in it than out, but we always come back to it. And I think what's cool is we've aired what we think our concerns are. We've aired what we think we're looking forward to. We're going to find out, and then we will let everybody know what those are, and that's going to be really fun. So we're not. It's not like we're not going to know the answer. We'll know the answer to these questions soon, because Rare and Xbox and Disney have given us a game season that just was like it's announced, and it's like, oh, please don't be 2022. Oh, 22 June. Okay, great. It's just like what? Such a quick turnaround. Everybody's super hyped. Most people, I should say, and it's a big deal. I mean, regardless, it's a big deal, and we'll see where we go from here. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, Shunts, Chuck, I want to say a big thanks to coming out, being on. This is only second show. I've got to learn OBS a little bit more. For some reason, I can't get my music to work. We'll figure that out using OBS instead of normally streaming from my Xbox. But you guys have been great. I want to say thank you for coming out. Thank you for your time, your input. I had fun. I hope you did too.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Yeah.
Interacting, and this will go up on YouTube as well. So our hot takes will live on, and yeah. So everybody that's listening live or on replay, thanks very much for your time. And please, if you aren't following Chuck, go ahead and do so. ChuckTheApe. If you're not following here, please be sure to do so. And we look forward to seeing you online and on the seas. Hopefully, we don't sink you, but it's kind of likely. Until next time, we'll see you online.